There's just so much to do.
This is going into the tag sale.
What am I going to do with this?
Could put these in that bag.
Can I have another big box?
Chaya and Nesher Broderick and their 5 children are packing up, getting ready to move out of their Cedarhurst home.
This is a collection of materials from like 17 years, and to gather it all together, it's not easy.
But the hardest part is yet to come. The Brodericks aren't just leaving their Long Island home, they're leaving the country.
It was something I knew I always wanted to do.
I can't even explain why I think that I have to do it. I just know that I have to do it, and I'm going.
Going without a job, leaving behind family and friends for an uncertain future in Israel. The reason they say is simple. They're following their faith, a spiritual journey that will take them straight into a war zone.
There's something in my soul that makes me feel that's where I belong.
First stop, JFK Airport, ready to board the flight with more than 200 others who made the same decision.
I feel like I'm going to cry in a second. I'm excited. I just don't want to say goodbye to my friends.
I joined them for the 12-hour flight. Lots of time for the Brodericks to think about the Hezbollah attacks that have hit Israel and the possible danger they face.
I really believe that God is with us, and whenever it's our time to go, it'll be our time to go. It could be crossing the street on Ocean Parkway, or it could be walking in the streets of Haifa.
Then there are the children.
It's going to be difficult getting everybody adjusted into school, especially I have a high schooler, and he wasn't so keen about going anyway.
Their 15-year-old son will likely join the Israeli army in a few years. Military service is mandatory for most young men and women. A scary thought for Yehuda Broderick.
If I need to, if I have to, I just have to do it. But not really sort of the type of person who would hold a gun.
Yehuda and his father do their morning prayers on the plane. Then, from a window, first glimpse of what everyone's been waiting to see, the Holy Land.
I just can't wait to get out that door and scream, because I've waited 20 years for this, 20 long years. Hello! Hello! It was wild, beyond my dreams, people cheering and so happy.
Nesher kisses the ground on the land he loves.
This is like permanent, you know? It's home. It's a dream come true.
Finally, the end of the Brodericks' journey. This new home in Israel, not just their destination, but their destiny. Lauren Sivan, News 12, Long Island. When some people think about Israel, they think of war. Jonathan Hadou thinks of wine, not just drinking it, but making it.
Disconnect the hose when I tell you, okay?
It's hard work, with long hours and little pay. But this 27-year-old from East Norwich, Long Island says it's his dream job.
This is exactly what I wanted to do.
But Jonathan is doing it in a war zone. He works at the Carmel winery, tucked into the northern hills of Israel. He arrived just before the missile attacks erupted.
Last week, I was on a train, and I saw these soldiers getting onto the train, and they were seeing their friends, and they were like hugging their friends because they're like really happy to see them because they don't know if they're going to see them again after they get back.
And on our way to the winery, a sobering reminder of war. Sirens sounded, rockets were headed our way. In the distance, a plume of smoke, a chilling sign that despite all the beauty that surrounds Jonathan, there is still no escape from the ugliness of war.
Everyone I know has been to, a funeral for a friend or a family member.
He can make wine anywhere, Long Island, California, France. So why Israel? Jonathan says he's just following his faith.
I was 17, and I was sort of just introduced to Orthodox Judaism. And right away, I knew I wanted to be part of it. Being surrounded by my people, and really that's just like the best part. It's just like, wow, it's just like everyone. It's just, everyone's Jewish and everyone's together.
Don't be afraid, you're okay.
That same sentiment brought former Long Islander Debbie Harris here to Israel 12 years ago.
When I was, whole time growing up, I always felt like I had my Jewish personality and kind of my other personality. Being Jewish in a Jewish state, just, it was a whole different, totally different than being in the United States, where you could freely express your Judaism, where you were living and breathing Judaism.
Debbie and husband David admit it's a double-edged sword. They know their 2 children will be required to serve in the military.
The defense is such an important factor here in Israel. You just hope when the time comes that your kid's going to be, one of the lucky ones, or, everybody prays for peace.
Itsy bitsy spider climbed up the spout again. The one thing more than anything that makes us want to stay in Israel is the fact that it's a family environment. There is a greater sense of family values than the one that perhaps I was used to.
But family values don't always make up for family. Debbie's mother, father, and brother live back on Long Island.
We miss family and the fact that we can't all grow up together. That's the hardest thing.
The couple prays for peace in the region, but knows it would take a true miracle.
We've had so many great minds trying to attack the Palestinian-Israeli issue for at least so many decades, if not more. Then I don't know what our real hopes are for the future.
But the Harrises, along with Jonathan the winemaker, do know one thing about their future. It's in the Holy Land. Lauren Sivan, News 12, Long Island.
To family and friends, this is a very, very tough goodbye.
Jonathan Sheridan is leaving Long Island. The 22-year-old from Massapequa is going to Israel, not as a tourist or a student, but as a soldier.
I'm at a point in my life where I wanted to do something. I definitely decided to do this before there was a war. I didn't know there was going to be a war. I was coming to be in the Israeli army, peace, war, whatever.
With rockets falling and soldiers killed or wounded daily, Mom has a hard time letting him go.
This is not what I would have chosen for him. I will be worried every day until he comes home.
She's a lot more nervous than I am. What can you do? I'm not going to let her run my life.
Jonathan says any doubts he had vanished once on Israeli soil.
It was hard leaving your family and everything, so it's like you kind of maybe ambivalent about the decision, but when you get here and you see everybody, and it's great. You just know it's the right decision,
No more doubt.
Nah, no doubt.
Jonathan and the other Army volunteers were supposed to be in northern Israel for orientation. Instead, they're here in Jerusalem. What was once a major target for suicide bombings is now a safe haven from Hezbollah.
I would say it's dangerous to live anywhere right now. I mean, I worked only a block away from the World Trade Center, and look what happened there. Everything involves a certain amount of risk. And if you want to do something important, I think that you have to take risks.
Further north near Haifa, we found another Long Islander who made the same dangerous decision. Matthew Belsky lives here in a kibbutz with other Americans in training. It may look like a college dorm room, but the guns, bullets, and target practice show what he's really studying.
Last week, actually, there was a siren.
And here's a feature most college campuses don't have.
This is the bomb shelter.
Is this where people would sleep, eat, hang out?
Yeah, whenever. I mean, now the current situation, if you hear a siren, you have 1 minute to get to the bomb shelter before a missile, Katyusha, would actually hit.
I guess you can say it was always a dream to come to Israel and become a soldier. Back in Long Island, 5 towns, and it's not a reality. I'm in college. I'm thinking, how am I gonna leave college, leave happy hours in downtown, and come to an elite unit of the Israeli army.
But that's just what Matt did. He says it was meant to be. His father also served in the Israeli army during the Yom Kippur War. His grandfather was one of the Belsky brothers who saved 1,200 Jews from the Nazis in World War II.
I was always raised with stories of Jewish pride from my grandfather, my father. How I was raised obviously was a big factor why I'm here, but it's not the reason why I came. I don't know, I just felt a sense of the urge to help out.
He is now in one of the most elite units of Israeli paratroopers. And during the war with Hezbollah, the danger of his calling became clear. His commander was killed in Lebanon.
I had to go to a funeral, and my whole unit was there, and it was to see a 20-year-old kid, I was at a party with him, and he's dead, his family's there, all of his friends, all of his, it's a very sad thing.
Matthew and Jonathan know they too could pay the ultimate price, but both say they have no regrets about following their faith. Lauren Sivan, News 12, Long Island.